Yo, thank you for tuning in the Winners Paradigm podcast. We're back. It's been a month. It's the first time in 3 years that I haven't podcasted consecutively. I've been consistent as fuck, either getting in the week and a half was the max I ever did. But it's been a little over a month. And this was something I actually needed. I tried it on purpose. I was intentional with this objective because I got school going on right now. I'm working to get certified for physical training. And then trying to gain some clients, taking care of the kids. One thing my wife's made a big focal point that I've sucked at is cleaning up the house and taking care of making the house look nice every single day, taking pride with it. For me, it's been difficult because um, I've been trying to do all these fucking things. And the more and more and more I focused on doing, I stopped doing some things. So I realized for me, we're going to do that. We're going to go on a family trip. We went to South Carolina. We went to Jacksonville, Florida. So with that, I decided I was going to take a little bit of a break and just really meditate, really journal, really think about, hey, what is the next thing that is happening? How are we positioning ourselves? What are we doing? How am I becoming a better dad and husband? How can I be a better dad and husband first, which will allow me to be a better podcaster, which will allow me to be a better coach, which will allow me to talk to clients on a better level. So for me, it was something that I needed to do where I was focusing on the next steps. I was focusing on how I'm going to be able to be here, but also was just being intentional within the moment, because it's so easy to just go by. It's so easy. And I make it as this is my wife made a comment. We're going to South Carolina, and she made a comment, and she was like, "I sometimes I wish that you didn't plan the whole trip about going around the gym, making a big deal about it." And I understood from her point of view what she was saying is, "Hey, I make it a focal point. Hey, I want to go to the gym. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to be waking up this time." Like sometimes I overemphasize that I talk a little bit too much. I do a little too much on that case to where it's not helping our relationship versus saying, hey, this is what my guidelines are. This is what I'm doing. This is what it's going to be. Sometimes we make it a little bit harder on what we're doing and say, hey, I need to be this way. I need to get a fucking workout in. And then, wait up late. It's 2 in the morning over there, which is really fucking what, 11 p.m. California time, getting workout in. Again, you're going to figure out what it needs to be. But there's always ways we can improve. And I realize for me, just my mentality, feeling disrespected, feeling like I don't break routine, I can be a bit of an asshole. So that's where we start being better and focusing on that. Within all this time, it was still studying, it was still getting classes done, working on my master's. It got difficult. With that, it's a higher level of speaking and actually going further in depth, especially when we're talking about specific theories, specific fucking methods for coaching and so forth. So for me, I took a little bit of a hit of not getting too descriptive into it because I feel like, especially with clients, like sometimes you have to hit surface level. Sometimes you don't hit surface level. You hit home. But the point is like you're never really going to hyperfixate, get too nerdy, and talk about certain things with people because you don't need to. We don't need to talk about the specific science of what's happening, at the atomic level when you're building muscle. We just talk about building muscle and what you do and how you do it. So in this particular case, was really specifying getting better there, and it was cool. I strategically planned, strategically did my paper in the hotel before we went on the trip. I did it at her mom's house. We were staying there before we came home, and it was cool. I was able to just soak in being on that family trip, and it was a bit of a pain in the ass because we had a lot of gear. We had like 3 carry-on bags. We had the check-in bags that were 3. We had the stroller. We had the big ass wagon. It was a pain. My wife did an amazing job at really coordinating it and figuring out, hey, how are we going to make our flights and making sure that we all sat together and so forth. It was fucking awesome. That took a lot of work. That took a lot of pride. That took a lot of um, structure to be able to set us up for success on that. And that's what my wife did. It went really well. Yes, did we fight a little bit? Yes, we did. But we're able to work through those issues and get through everything that we're doing. For me, I just learned from a leadership standpoint, it's like There's times where you take over and you show it. And that's where, whether you guys are shifting off, whether you have one person that is dedicated and showing you exactly the steps that you can do, you're going to have to focus for yourself on how you're going to make it happen. From there, it was funny because before we went on this trip, we went to a wedding, and it was just seeing people from high school, fat, not in good shape, drinking, going back for drinks or whatever. Now, what I realize is like, yeah, could you, excuse me, could I do one or two drinks? Yeah, I probably could. But to me, that's not fun. I like to get faded. And it was watching people get faded. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do now because it makes me realize that was me. That was me that just want to be faded all the time. I want to check out of life. It could be a good life. I'm not saying that all bad decisions are going to happen and that it could be a good life. You can have a lot of fucking fun. I'm not saying that, you can have a lot of fucking fun. You can be partying. You can do all this shit, but it's not going to pay off in the end. And that's what I realized, is hey, drinking at this wedding, getting fucking shit faced, it's not going to pay off. Whether you're leaving, whatever, you're prone to make more dumb decisions. So just be smart. If you realize that you're making dumb decisions, check what you're doing, mitigate it, and move the fuck on. A lot of times we don't do those things, and that's where we mess up. So that was just a good learning instance for me. Was this wedding? I was like, man, I need to get my physique up because that's a lot of times what happens is, around these people, we see people let themselves go. But two, when you start dedicating yourself, when you start getting better, when you start being the best you can be, you're gonna get people come up to you and they're gonna ask you, hey, how did you lose weight? Whatever it is. So for me, it was, hey, how did you lose weight? How did you better your marriage? How did you work on the areas that you fell short of? Um, bro, how do you look big? What are you eating? And then you generate the conversations off there. So one of the things for me, was definitely at this wedding clicked was like got having to look good. Like you take pride in walking in a room looking good, but your presence commands everything. It tells everything about you. So if you take care of yourself, if you're, at this good dinner and you're eating clean, you're drinking healthy drinks. You're focused on your macros, you're focused to plan. Like you do whatever you need to do to gear yourself in. You stick to that goal. You're disciplined. It's going to pay off. People are going to see that. But if you're not disciplined, you're doing whatever. Absolutely do it. I'm no longer going to be the one that says, fuck off and fuck you for doing all this bad shit. You want to do that over there. Appreciate you, love you. But over here, we ain't going to do that shit. We're not cutting corners. We're not going to take it easy. We're going to forge the path through discipline, pain, and understand that the other person on the other side of this thing is better than what we started at. And the reason why we're not doing that is because we used to be that half-assed 75% ass type bullshit. And you know what? It sucks. And at times we revert back to the old methodologies that we've done and it becomes clear. And I'll call myself out. And this is where humility comes in. This is where you get better. This is where you focus on how do I show up? I would fail because I'm trying to clean real quick. I'm trying to get things done versus taking my time. Why? Because my wife wants the house thoroughly cleaned. Whether if it's every day, every other day, whatever, I would get pissed off. I don't need to fucking do it. I could just blah blah blah, sweep this up real quick, not mop it, make it look all right. The point is taking pride, doing it right the first time, not the 10th time. And that's where I would fail, and to me, my methodology was, hey, I have more shit to do. This is not on the severe level of importance. To her, it was. So that's where you make the changes is understanding that, hey, I am in my motherfucking way right now. I understand what the problem is, but I'm going to go against whatever it is because of my feelings. Yes, I felt like I was right in the situation. No, I am not right. I have strides I need to make. I need to meet her where she wants to be. So I need to better myself. And that's the hard part. Sometimes when we fuck up or whatever, like genuinely, you understand. And that's where I'm trying to be is um, continue to just pursue those acts, and in my case, you fuck up and then you do better and whatever. And this is why I talk about everything from experience because I'm not telling you anything that I haven't done or that I'm doing or what, like I'm telling you everything that I'm fucking doing because it's helping me get better and what I've learned about this whole time period, whatever. But when you start realizing that it's not about you, that's where things start to change. When you realize that all the actions that compound, you getting this workout in, you focusing on the one, the two, the three repetitions, the focusing on every single rep that you're doing, you making sure your nutrition's on point. Because we all have the times, those times I ate out, felt like jack shit, workout was fucking terrible. And there's times that I feel amazing. Again, you're gonna know you're gonna realize that when you're disciplined, you start to realize all the things you didn't realize. When you're not drinking, you realize the things that you didn't realize when you were drinking, right? So what I'm talking about in this particular case is like when you start getting the reps in or whatever. And I know for me, a lot of decisions are emotional driven, a lot of fights are emotional driven. When I'm in flow state, or when I start thinking the bigger picture, I'm like, really? Yes, what I was fighting on was childish. The reason why is because I can win that fight, but the battle, the long game, I set myself up for failure because in theory, I fought on something about principle versus the hierarchy scheme is, hey, this is what it is. And I could have already molded and framed the whole situation never happened again, but I did not do that. So again, what we do is we talk about the things that we didn't do because if you have the patterns, you didn't do those things prior to, you're going to run into that same issue over and over and over. And that was kind of what I felt like with me was running into these issues over and over. I'm actually going to jump ahead now off of a couple things I want to talk about. But it's funny because I actually was in a call and it was time management. That was one of the things that popped up, right? So in this business call, guys are talking about time management. They don't have kids and they're talking about, I don't have enough time in the day to do X, Y, and Z. And it was funny because the first really year and a year, I would bitch to my wife, like, I can't fucking do this. I'm trying to start this business. I'm trying to do all these things. I have everything going on. Um, and I would bitch with her, that, hey, I need help. I need this or that. She want the house clean. I didn't, we'd fight. Now recently we've been going through it as well because for me, I'm like, bro, I'm been feeling good. I'm trying to get in the groove, doing whatever. It's either wake up really early, really late, sacrifice not getting sleep, get sick over and over again, not take care of myself, miss gym days. So I started making excuses. And this is where you have your partner to check you, but you got to check yourself. So for me, it was working out at home. It was, meditating, journaling, getting back to that practice that allows you to tap into who you need to be. And I realized for me that like when I came to time management, I just wasn't effective with the time given and I can do a better job. And that's why when I talked about the cleaning, it's like I need to do a better fucking job. And I've been taking steps to do a better job. I'm going to take more steps to do a better job. And I'm going to get over this problem. So again, you're going to attack everything that it is that you need to do. The reason why is because you're not everybody else. It's easy to do what everybody else does. It's easy to sit here and to lie to people's faces and to just put on this facade and to really check out in life. It's easy to do those things. And that's why when you do it, you don't have a happy life. I do it because I intentionally put myself in that so I can live it and understand for myself that, hey, that's not what I want. A lot of people don't understand that. I shouldn't do that because you understand what it is, so you don't fucking do it, right? But a lot of times is we got to walk that fucking path. Like we said, you can drink, you can have fun, whatever. But a lot of people don't realize that their life can be better when they don't do that shit because now they start having more time, more life, start actually remembering moments, feeling at peace within the moment versus just being all over the fucking place. Again, whatever the emotion, whatever emotional attachment that's driven towards that, like you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure out what it needs to be. In my particular case, it sucked. It sucked realizing at an older age, hey, all those things needed to happen. And that was something that I kind of learned as well with the time management stuff. Was like even those guys were bitching about, oh, whatever at that time, like I needed all the things to happen. I needed to fail. I needed to have problems with my wife. I needed to not be the best I can be so I can understand what is required and ultimately go through that. A lot of us men have to go through the hard shit to fuck up and to fall into those paths before we can break out of that and get to that next level. In my particular case, it was exactly fucking that. I needed to go through it. I needed to fuck up. I needed to start this business, not make money, get in a hole, and really work myself through it. Of hey, what can I do? What's going to work for me? What do I see long term wise? And what am I not changing my identity of to become? again, it's something that doing the podcast and everything, jumping back to the, being out for a month, doing the podcast, I felt like that's the number one thing that expedited my growth over the years. And it's also allowed me to get into bigger rooms, get better with people, really focus and love what I do. Um, but at the same time, it would be learning while having the podcast that I'm ignorant because there are some things that I did not want to heal, attack, and move through quicker. So in this particular time, taking time off, I was like, man, it's that time management. It's understanding it's not just me, that we need to do better. We aren't everybody else. We set the standards, so we take it. We don't set shortcuts. We don't do this. We forgive when we don't want to. That was something I realized as well. Me and my wife were fighting, held on to some shit that I didn't need to hold on to. I'm always talking about releasing the things that doesn't serve us. I wasn't doing that. I was holding on to it, making little remarks. I recently did it as well, and I didn't mean to. But for me, I felt extremely, extremely hurt, and I kept overthinking. Again, here goes into the things. It's like we have to be able to check ourselves and understand, believe it or whatever. And if not, you ask questions. So for me, as I've been doing more and more and more work, it all stems from me feeling within myself is I can always be better. I'm not good enough when it goes into that belief. So I know for a lot of people, they beat it. I'm not good enough, whatever. For me, it's always raising the standard of whatever. When I go into the I'm not good enough mode, it's not necessarily that I feel I'm not. It's more necessarily if I know I'm required more and where I should be is greater than what I currently am. So the way I used to phrase it is, oh, I should be here. Now I'm like, I know there's more. I know I require more of myself. That is why it's frustrating. That's why it's starting the business, not making money. It's been, doing one thing, figuring out it's not for me. Like it sucked. That's not a part of me that I want to embrace or whatever, but it's made me me. It's made me a better man. It's made me a better husband, made me a better father. Without it, I wouldn't be who I am right now. Sucks to say that. There are things that need to improve, but at the same time, you did it for a reason. You fucking live, you learn. At least you didn't play the bullshit cards that everybody else did. At least, I got to take care of my kids while they're younger versus having a nanny and missing out on this time. I may have gotten issues with my wife over it, may have felt a type of way. It's fucking sucked sometimes. Um, Getting in the whole money, just thinking about myself, not being in alignment of what I need to do. But again, reoccurring theme here. If you're doing what you need to do and taking ownership of what needs to happen, doing your daily non negotiables, your habits, you're going to see what people don't see. Again, you see what I'm doing. Like, I literally wrote 20 things on here, and that's what I'm addressing. And it's all flown into each other, and it all talks about it because it's all the similar things that builds that foundation. That's one of the things I talk about my clients is building out your foundation, always doing the basic things. Um, and when you don't do them, life doesn't go well. So I know for me lately, that's what it's been. It's when we're traveling. I didn't do the basics a couple of days. Weren't good days, but when I did it, it was a little bit better. And that's what we need to focus on is making sure every day counts, making sure that we can decompress, making sure we can do whatever, because that is the requirement to get us better for the final result, right? So in our case, make sure you're taking your time to do whatever it needs to fucking be. Have those daily non-negotiables in. So for me, every single day is I get some push-ups in, even if I don't get a workout in, get a walk in. We journal 3 times a day. Normally, each meal I like to do it or before. The reason why is I want to get out anything I have in my head on paper. One, to release it because, like I said, some things I was holding on to that I was very fucking angry about. Two, so I can realize the thoughts that are in my head, understand that there's no power behind them, and that I don't need to get upset. I don't need to think about whatever. Three, how I can improve within that day. So I've talked about a couple of failures I've had and what I'm addressing, how to address them and move forward. And this is how it can help you, whether you're a client or whatever. Like this is common shit we go through. Some is current, some things have been years ago, right? The reason why I say that is because we'll go back to daily non-negotiables. We go through making every single day count, showing up, getting the workout in, doing whatever, journaling 3 times a day, within that meditating slash praying. It allows you to just kind of see, be mindful of the moment, because a lot of times we're moving a million miles a minute and we don't see those things. So it just really fucking hit me. It hit me the other day thinking about, it's been 8 years since my boy Seth died, and I still think about him all the fucking time. I still look at my Blink 182 tattoo or hear them, and I'm thinking about him, thinking about how we were gonna meet up. He was gonna go to Cuesta, and we're gonna hang out after high school. And I was thinking about that dinner, or excuse me, that breakfast we had together, and then he made shrimp cocktails. He was supposed to come over that night, and I almost actually died in an accident, but I didn't. Luckily. So I've been thinking about that. Is learning and moving forward. That even some of the toughest shit that you go through or the people you'll lose can teach you something. And for me, it's life is short. It's not always promised. It's not given. We got to be all in. That sucked. The reason why is I always took my life and I always was cautious. I always played it safe. Whatever. My parents were strict as fuck. Didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to do this, but I would bend the rules. I would do as much as I could that I knew I'd be all right with. Right. The point is I played it safe a lot of the times. Played it safe. I strategized, as I said, but it was playing it safe. Now I realize is I don't play it safe because I realized that friends have dropped, things haven't went into it. I've seen generational patterns. I'm following my father's footsteps. I act like my father. So there's some things that are good, some things are bad, and you get rid of the bad and you amplify the good, and you add more onto your repertoire, and you fucking show up. So you learn who you are, you show up in those ways, and you get better along that way. In my particular case, it was understanding that channeling all this, friends dying, life is not being short. I got injuries. My life changed. I have to change the way I eat and train. I have to focus my energy on what I'm actually doing. Meditate, pray. Whether you do either or, both work. Stretching. I have to focus on all these different elements that are going to make me a better me. That when I was younger, I did not do. And I'm only 26 right now. The point is you can take whatever, you can inject whatever, you can show up whatever you need to do to be the best you, do it. If that's what you feel. And for me, it's continually learning that I have to add more. I have to do more for myself that I haven't done before. If I want to get to a place that I haven't been in this particular case, again, like one of the Marine Corps principles, leadership principles, know yourself and seek self improvement. I take that huge. We always need to know what we're doing, and it's not about what we're just doing, whether if it's in our job, getting our qualifications, it's what you're doing outside that you can use to patter up that resume, make it look fucking nice and show up. What are you doing on that off time that's going to separate you from everyone else? Okay, you're not working on the business, maybe you're working through a course on the side. Maybe you're, focusing on whatever. Maybe you're going through a church group. Maybe you're going through a dad's group. Maybe you're doing something on the side that's going to help you other than losing weight, right? I'm saying this because everything's in congruence. So when you start losing weight, you pick up a second thing that's going to help you stay into it. It's like, oh, associated this. I feel really good. I go to church group. We talk about men's stuff, whatever it is, right? So you can literally align yourself to do better by the way that you position yourself to just attack life. And that's where a lot of people don't think about it. As they think about the who, the people we surround ourselves with, the positions that we go into, the environments, but they don't position themselves strategically for all these different things. So I realized for myself that was exactly what I need to do as well. It's like continually check with my people, do whatever, but position myself in new environments to meet new people. Because if not, you fall into the same trap of dealing with the same shit all over again and again and again. And that's what it was, especially for me, is at first I needed to work on myself tremendously before I could start coaching, because it was some things that I can give as a resource and show that I'm an offering to people, because they may relate to something that has been extremely tough in my particular life. And in their particular life, it's going to click with them, resonate deeper on that level, because they're going to see exactly what, hey, this dude gets it. This dude's been through the shit that I didn't want to deal with. And now I know somebody who knows exactly what that avoidant feeling is like, not being the best you can be. thrives to do that every single day. That's why he talks about a recalibrated man, because it is a man that understands the deep wounds he has, what he's doing to fix that generational trauma, and how he's going to show up differently in life. Again, talked about happiness throughout this episode, and you just need to realize for yourself. I've talked about it before, and people got irritated with me. Is I said happiness is something that's achieved. What are you doing to be happy? A lot of people think like, oh, I wake up, I'm happy, have a t-shirt, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that it could be achieved. I think you can be happy as, hey, my plate is fucking stacked, but it has to be this way for right now. Doesn't always have to be, but maybe I'm happy when I clean my house, show up for my kids, show up for my significant other, do my work quality wise, help my clients out to the best of my ability, and make it through another day with less stress. Maybe that's what being happy is versus, having a good fucking time, partying, shits and giggles, going to the beach, whatever. Could possibly be that, but maybe you're just escaping whatever reality you're in. I escape that reality. That's why I talk on those things. You are going to be the one there. With me, if you've noticed, if you listen to this podcast, multiple times I've changed my philosophy. I've changed my speed, my pitch, the way I've become angry, the way I've called people out, the way I've focused and just enhance my voice, right? Why? Because a lot of times what happens is we get stuck to that one particular way. We think linear, we're conservative, maybe we're liberal, when we're just fighting to our cause, fighting for our cause, then eventually we change. That was exactly what it was for me. I had to change the way that I was thinking, the way that I was moving, the way that I was processing things, information, because it was leading me to my old former self. What my old former self would do, my old former self would say, why I was not being the best I can be, and how I'm going to be moving forward. You're going to focus for yourself on how you're going to show up. A lot of people don't understand those things. A lot of people don't understand that it's you doing these things to better yourself. When you challenge your philosophy, you're not challenging just your belief system, you're challenging your entire fucking being. Why am I doing this? Is this something that resonates with me? How can I be better? Why is there a reaction out of me? Why is this something emotional for me? Maybe it's something I need to work on. Lately, it's been that, it's understanding that I can't yell at every single client. Talked about doing the work. Those clients that triggered me because I just want to fucking yell at them and be like, bro, it's not that fucking deep. That was something for me I needed to work through. Why? Because there's going to be clients that do that. There's going to be clients that you give them a workout plan. They don't go to the gym. There's times that I didn't go to the gym. I can show the fucking empathy. I can learn how to motivate people that is a little bit different than that. Talk to their fucking souls to get them into the gym, not scream at them. There's time and place. You're going to learn these things. You're going to learn whatever. Challenging my philosophy makes me understand that there's two different avenues of approach. There's number one, where I can come at them with an old school train of thought that works effectively. And there's times where I can talk to them logically, emotionally, and move through that point of attack. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I'm going to end it with this. If today was my last day, I'm grateful. And that's one thing I say every single day. If today was my last day, I'm grateful. I love everyone I met. I just pour out love into the world because it's something I miss, as I needed more love in my life. And I realized when I give more love, I get more love. When I don't, I fixate on not liking people, energy, vibes, whatever it is, and that's one of the things we do struggle with as men is like, we don't realize that I'm really transactional, especially when it comes around being around people. I'm like, now fuck that. I don't want to be around this person. Like they're not going to get it. Move on to the next people. That does work at times. But again, if we can just show gratitude and just be there and be grateful for everything. And that's why I said like all the things had to have happened for it to line up to where I'm at now. And things are going to line up in the future by other things happening. And what we can realize is if we take accountability of it, we move forward, grateful for our situation, we learn from it and move on. And that's where I've been at lately. It's a point of growth, especially this last month of not doing podcasting. It's made me realize that if you continually come on and you continually speak, you're going to have to diversify. You're going to have to be doing more shit. Because if you are not, you're going to run into a brick wall. You're not going to know what to talk about. You're going to move through it. But if you're continually closing, you're continually working on it, continually getting better, you can give people the best info, the best knowledge, the best teachings you possibly can give. In my case, what I needed was some time that was going to allow me to heal, get better, and say, hey, how could we take this to the next level? How could we be a better guest? How could we be better host? How could I tell better for stories? How can I help men better? Well, I've already been talking about helping men when it's recalibrating mindset and helping them be the best they can be. Well, now we're going to talk about getting shredded. Now we're going to talk about working out. And we're going to talk about lifting. Like we're going to implement all these other fucking things so it can let us get better. And we can focus on giving that to the world. And that's the point is if you can continually give more, give more, give more, everybody's gonna be able to see that. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. There's more that is gonna come, but you guys do not want to miss that.